to success. I am 1000% ringy-dingy delusional. Delusion is the key to success. I am absolutely delusional, and that's how I get the things that I want. So let's put this into perspective. Obviously, there's extremes, but for the sake of my delusion, let's put this into perspective. A delusion is when a person believes things that couldn't possibly be true. Honey child, I talk to ghosts for a living. This is what we do, okay? There is no physical evidence of this, but we do it. I want to really frame this picture for you about delusion. Delusional thinking is deceiving yourself into believing outrageous things. Do you think I was just born and I was like, I'm going to be a shaman and a healer and talk to dead people because it seems like such a fun thing to do? No. But what ended up happening over time is I had an inspiration. I had my birth. I had my traumas. I then wanted to move into my healing phase. And somewhere in that healing phase, I started feeling surges of inspiration. And one of those inspirations was shaman. I kept hearing it, shaman, 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 shaman. And I thought to myself, all right, I'm going to be a shaman. I'm going to do this. And next thing I know, I'm working with the teacher. I'm getting the training and I'm offering healing sessions. And then I'm just minding my business, walking by this big brick 2-story building that has gorgeous architecture. And I feel that inspiration again. And I think to myself, yeah, I'm going to get that building and I'm going to create a healing space for the community and sell crystals. Guess what? I did for 7 years until I got bored with it and it was time to move on again. And then I had this inspiration, wellness retreats, healing retreats, experiential retreats, that peak moment. Because a retreat isn't community. A retreat is a peak moment in time where you can break through and then find your community as a new person. So find people who vibrate at your new rate. And I was like, yeah, I'm going to do that. And guess what? I am. So it starts in the thoughts. But if you're still chasing your negative thoughts while you're in those lower healing phases, or beginner healing phases, I should say, or when you're still in that victim phase, then your thoughts are going to keep telling you that you're not as good as, that you're not good enough for. It's going to keep making that little name tag that says, please hold me down, keep me back, kick me again, instead of it telling your brain, I'm worth this. I'm wonderful. I have power. I can do this. And then that makes that name tag say beautiful things about you. 100% worth. 100% power. Right here, guys. So, delusional thinking tells me that I am everything and I can do anything and that I'm the most powerful version of me. And that brings me to a beautiful path. That brings me to success. You ever heard that saying, shoot for the moon? Even if you miss, you'll land amongst the stars. What if my thinking kept telling me that going to the moon was impossible? Then you would never even try, and you would never make it to where you were meant to be. So even if the moon is your goal, as you learn how to project yourself into heaven, into space, into your most empowered version of you, and that takes effort, it takes planning, it takes action and doing, but as you're doing it, you're learning. I can do this. I am capable of this. I am powerful enough for this. This is who I am. My inspiration and my delusional thinking were actually just telling me and informing me who I am. Because you're whoever you think you are. Darling, you are whoever you think you are. So, with delusional thinking, there's a reason that we come through these cycles of birth, trauma, healing, and empowerment. all of these things, like I mentioned before, bring you gifts, allow you to expand, allow you to grow. But you get two things out of going through this process. That trauma, that victim phase, that healing phase, it brings you into the 7 virtues and the Beatitudes. The 7 virtues and the Beatitudes. So one of these things is informing you of how you are, and one of these things is informing you of who you are. Remember, we're looking at 528 Alchemy, and this is your personal empowerment and how it's gone from lead to gold, how it's gone from darkness to a fully integrated illumination. This is teaching you about your evolution, your alchemy phase, your becoming, your self-actualization. So in order to really get these in, what I want to do is first introduce you to some animal spirit medicine. In animal spirit medicine, each animal has a particular teaching, a particular vibration, something that you can apply to your life, and it helps you become a different vibration. So it helps you to heal, it helps you to learn. And the three that are coming to us today are the hummingbird, the bee, and the snail. Yes, the snail. The hummingbird is an animal medicine of joy, of sweetness, and of endurance. The hummingbird migrates across continents, and it's like this big. And those tiny little wings carry them across entire continents without them feeling all of that tiredness. If you look at a hummingbird, their wings are going so fast and chaotically seeming that you can't even see the wings hardly, but the body is still. The body just seems to zip, 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 zip from one place to another. Hummingbird medicine gives us that perseverance, that joy in the process, that sweetness even amongst the chaos, the inner stillness, because we can't stop the world or change the world. We can't keep the world from moving or tell the world, shut up for a minute, but we can have that inner quiet, that inner peace, that inner sweetness, and that's what hummingbird helps us with. So in your own meditations or journey works, try to incorporate hummingbird medicine and see how hummingbird can help you pick the joy out of every single situation and help you move through every chaotic thing that happens to you with stillness and peace inside of yourself. And then I want to apply the medicine of the bee. Alchemy. Bee, alchemy. Bee, alchemy. The bee also speaks of joy. There's that honey, right? But the bee is about abundance. And I'm not just talking about money, although we all love money. What I'm talking about here is the abundance of experience, the abundance of wisdom, that thickness, that empowerment, that authenticity that we're talking about gaining during this process. The bee helps you alchemize all of the junk that you've got going on and turn it into pure gold, turn it into pure power, not by bypassing it or pushing it away, but by integrating it and alchemizing it. The bee is abundant, just as you are abundant. You are not a shell of a person. You're not a shallow person. You are someone who has been through a lot of things, integrated those things, and understands your power and your worth now that you see what those things were doing for you. Now that you have your virtues and your beatitudes and you understand who you are and how you are, and we'll get to that. But let that bee come in through your healing process and self-actualization process to alchemize you and your traumas into pure gold, into pure power. Then there's the snail. Seriously, the snail. 1, cycles. Look at that shell. and the pattern that's on the shell. This is very indicative of cycles, of progress, of just moving through life and understanding that these things keep going, that you don't ever have to become stuck in a specific space or unmoving in a specific space, that you just keep moving through and becoming and growing and expanding larger and larger and larger. The snail also teaches us patience as well as perseverance, resilience, tenacity. It teaches us progress. If you think of that snail, it's in its home, which is the cycles, but it's moving so incredibly slowly, and we just wish it would hurry up and go faster. Across the road, little snail. So it is about resilience and understanding I'm not that weak. I'm actually like a pretty strong person. I'm not broken. No matter what happened, I am not broken. I am big, I am abundant, and I'm going to become more powerful than I was before. This is that tenacity and perseverance through my healing work, that even though it's hard, that even though I have to face things and push forward and it requires effort and action, that I'm going to do it because it's what I want to do and it's what I deserve to have and to obtain for myself. And it's what you guys deserve too. So try to incorporate those animal spirit medicines into your practice, your meditation, your journey work, or even just the concepts themselves, and understanding how you can do that in your day-to-day life. The 7 virtues. The victim gets to learn their virtues. What is virtuous? The victim gets to learn about how they are. You are honing and learning about all of your virtues, your ethics, your abilities, who you want to be, how you want to be, what you want to see in the world. These are things that you learn and hone during the victim phase of this entire cycle. You don't learn that at birth. You don't learn that when you're in the victim. You don't learn that at birth. You don't learn that in the trauma. Remember, in the trauma, you're fight or flight or freeze. You have to get to your safe space before you start that healing process. So you learn that in your victim phase. It's such a powerful, beautiful phase. When I'm the victim, I'm learning my virtues about the things I'm capable of and the things that I think are ethical and that I want to keep pursuing. So let's look at those 7 virtues for a second. The first one is chastity. I'm not talking about not being in relationships with people when you're in your healing phase. What I am saying is that chastity is about respectful management of your relationships. What will I tolerate? What will I not tolerate? What feels good to me and loving to me, and how can I also be good and loving to somebody else? How am I betraying myself over and over again by staying in a relationship that is not making me feel like I like who I am when I'm with that person? Why am I doing this to myself? Chastity is about your commitment to integrity, your commitment to yourself. It's about self-control sometimes, because with chastity, we also learn that sometimes we get surges of sexual energy coming from our womb space, our creation space, but it's not always meant to be spilled out in our relationships or to other people. If we can control ourselves and channel that energy into our spiritual practice, into our healing work, into our mediumship, our psychic abilities, into what we're here to do, imagine how potent what we're here to do can become. Chastity is about control of your Kundalini energy and putting it where it belongs so that you have a powerful impact, and properly managing your current relationships so that you like who you are when you're with that person, so that you are honoring your commitments to yourself and to others. Number 2 in the virtues that you learn during the victim phase is temperance. This is moderation, balance, control. Control over your thoughts, control over your feelings, control over your actions and your passions. You do not always have to be shot out. You do not always have to be calm and quiet, but you get to have a balance and some sort of control over these things. Remember all of the mind stuff we were talking about. I have to be able to control my thoughts. I have to be able to control what I am telling myself that I am. Am I telling myself that I'm nothing, or am I telling myself that I'm everything? Am I telling myself that people are mad at me and being mean to me, or am I telling myself that I'm a joy to be around and that I have love and connections? This is your ability to temper. This is your temperance. You are balancing everything in your life. You're balancing and controlling your thoughts and your emotions and the value that you put on certain thoughts. And this is your ability. You have to have temperance in order to have chastity. You have to be able to take your passions and channel it into the proper channels so that you don't become the person who's hurting other people in your healing process. Because when we go through a healing process, sometimes we swing back and forth. Remember, the healing process was the drama. So if you're no longer the victim, sometimes you might end up being the bad guy or being someone who's trying to rescue somebody else. And it becomes unbalanced as it moves around. But if you can stand in the middle of these things, integrating in the traumas that happened, empowering yourself, rescuing yourself, and allowing yourself to honor all of these virtues, to be the good guy, then we have temperance and balance. We have emotional control. We are able to pursue our passions in a way that doesn't hurt other people and also doesn't harm ourselves. Number 3 is charity. This is voluntary acts of kindness. This is compassion. We've spoken a bit in the past about compassion. And when we have compassion for other people, the point of having compassion is to relieve suffering. And we do that through fostering our connections with other people. Charity is not about giving money away all the time, although that might be what some people need from time to time. True charity is about voluntarily choosing to relieve someone else's suffering through connecting with them, through offering words of kindness, through offering compassionate acts, and that empathy piece that we were talking about. Empathy of being able to hold space for them, so we're not making it about us or trying to feel the same emotion that they're feeling, but we're truly showing up for the other person's emotion and suffering in some small capacity. This doesn't mean that you always have to be available for a phone call every time someone's upset, but it can look like somebody walking down the street and it's obvious that they don't have shoes on their feet and they haven't eaten and there's holes in their clothes, and it can look like giving them money and not caring where it goes or what they do with it. It could look like giving them clothes or shelter for a night. It could look like just telling them, I see your worth and your value. And while I don't have much else physically to give you, I just want you to know that you're doing okay with your life, that somebody out here sees you and cares about you. Charity can look like a lot of different things, and charity is voluntary kindness. Number 4 is diligence. Oh, our snail comes into the picture with their 7 virtues. Diligence. This is consistent and persistent effort towards your goal. Towards your goal. Not doing for the sake of doing, but consistently and persistently giving effort, putting forth action, effort towards your goal. Remember that when you move forward, you actually have to do something. You actually have to put forth effort, take action. It expends energy for you to move forward towards your goals. But diligence is a virtue that you learn when you're in the victim phase and when you're in the healing phase of this cycle. And that brings you towards your empowerment and self-actualization. With diligence, this is also about putting your full attention and effort into a task. We kind of live in a fast-paced world, right? Where there's a million things going on at one time. We have children talking to us. We're loading the dishwasher. Our work phone's going off. Our husband needs something. So there's always a million things going on. But when we think of diligence, think of quantity or quality versus quantity. If you were to be able to look that child in the eyes and give them your absolute full energy and full attention for 3 minutes, they would be filled. Versus having to come back over and over and over and over again because they're coming to you because they're energetically hungry and they're not getting fed. They're only getting a taste because your energy is somewhere else. When your attention is somewhere else, your energy is somewhere else. So if your attention is on 4 different things at once, your energy is thin. It's spread between 4 different things. So here with diligence, we're also looking at where can I put my full effort into this thing, and then my full effort into this thing, and then my full effort into this thing, so that I'm learning where my power is, what I'm spending my energy on, and how powerful I can be when I give something my all, when I truly step forward with everything that I've got to give. Number 5 is patience. Patience. Oh my goodness. Okay. Number 1, I just want to do a little plug in here. This 528 Hz Alchemy, you're already at this point in the video changed. You're already different than when you first started the video, but you didn't realize that that was going to happen because I didn't tell you. So there's a tone going on in the background here, whether you can hear it or not, and it's targeting that 528 space, opening it, helping it become and helping it evolve and become more strong and powerful. And if you cut the video off before this point, you don't get that. There's something to be said about patience. Now, when we talk about patience, it is the ability to wait and to continue doing without suffering and annoyance. The ability to wait and continue doing without annoyance. I'm a patient person. I'm really kind of go with the flow kind of thing, yada, yada. But I'm also like standing there breathing while I'm being patient. You know, I'm that person who's like, all right, I'll be patient. All right, I'll be patient. I'm that person. I am so annoyed when I have to be patient, but I'm patient, right? Not as a virtue. If we're using patience as a virtue, which is something we have to learn in our victim phase and in our healing phase, because we can't set time limits on when we're in those phases. We come out of those phases as we come out of those phases, because that's how we become that power center. But this patient is continuing to do despite difficulties without annoyance, continuing to wait without irritation. It's about the let go. It's the I'm continuing to do what needs to be done, even though difficult things are happening, but I'm still inside. This is the I'm continuing to wait for this thing that I know is coming, but I'm not annoyed about it. It's the letting go of the time crunch. It's the letting go of the control. It's the letting go of the expectations. Patience can wait without being irritated. I'll say it one more time. Patience continues to be diligent even during difficult times without annoyance. It continues to let love flow. That's so important, that even when difficult things are happening or things aren't going as expected, that we continue to let love flow through. We have to let love flow through. The next one we have here is kindness. And we touched on kindness a little bit with charity, because charity is voluntary acts of kindness. But kindness itself is gentle, it's caring, it's helpful, it is actions that promote goodwill and empathy. I choose to act in a way that promotes goodwill. I'm not going to promote fear. I'm not going to promote duality. I'm not going to promote fighting or war. I'm here to promote goodwill. I'm here to promote that you are worth everything that you dream of. I'm here to promote the fact that all of your goals are worthwhile and attainable. I'm here to promote the fact that you can alchemize and that you are alchemy and that you are gold on the inside. I'm here to promote love. And that's kindness. Truth is also kindness. Learn how to speak the truth as you see it to somebody while being kind. We have relationships, we have friendships, and part of these virtues is fostering our connections. That's part of charity, right? So when we're with somebody who's having a hard time, be able to read between the lines of what they really need. In that moment, do they just need someone to be there? In that moment, do they really need food? Are they at the bottom of that triangle? Do they need their physiological needs met first? Or are they on an emotional level? And how can I help them fill their emotional need? Can I just be a good friend? Can I just show up for them? Or are they more in their healing phase, or leaning towards their healing phase, or leaning towards their self-actualization phase? Are they ready for truth as I see it? Because since we're all mirrors for each other, how can I be a mirror of truth for this person? How can I show them about themselves in a way that awakens them, in a way that brings awareness to something they could be doing different to ease their suffering without being unkind? Our minds always go back to this, does this dress make me look fat? And the kind answer, I guess, is to say no. But what if that girl really looks like Dookie? Like, what if she doesn't look good in that dress? What do you do? And that's just a very small type of example for something that's very heartfelt and very big. So learning how to be the person to say, I hear you saying you're suffering about this thing, and it feels like maybe the issue is a lack of confidence underneath it all. I feel like this is coming from a space of not feeling good enough. And with that awareness, leaving that open for them to explore. Because if they stop thinking to themselves, oh, this person's doing this to me, or this horrible thing happened, and then saying, yeah, I guess this is what it makes me feel like, versus the thing that actually happened. Yeah, it is upsetting me because it makes me feel run over or not seen or not heard. Then they can start exploring that and maybe start healing the confidence piece and the worth piece and the equality piece and the oneness piece that's inside. Sometimes being kind is not being silent. Sometimes it's speaking the truth as you see it, understanding that it's as you see it, or just being a mirror for the other person's growth and healing so that they can see themselves in you. Goodwill and empathy. Humility. Humility is number 7. This is the 7th virtue. Okay. I don't like the word humility because no one likes to be humiliated. It comes down to this feeling of having to be smaller than, having to shrink yourself in order for others to be big. That's not this. One of the virtues that you learn once you're out of that victim phase, when you're in the victim phase, that might start to present itself as, oh, I have to shrink myself in order to let others shine. But when you come out of that, and when you come through your healing phase, and when you step into your self-actualization phase, you realize humility means acknowledging my place in the world. What? What was that? When you are still in a victim phase, the virtue of humility or knowing your place feels like having to be smaller than other people. When you are in your self-actualization phase, humility feels like knowing where you belong in the world, knowing that you are one of the whole, that you are everything and everyone is everything, that we're all connected, that we all have value and worth. This isn't about having to know your purpose. This isn't about having to know the thing that you're meant to do. This isn't about having your gifts fully open and being this successful and internationally acclaimed star. This is about knowing I belong in this world, that my existence has value, that my life has worth, that I belong here, and I am connected to everyone around me, and that I have a place. Know your place. Humility is that seventh virtue there. And I feel that that's a big one. That is a big one, knowing that you belong here and that you have a place. So through those cycles of birth, trauma, healing, and then self-empowerment, you got those 7 virtues, which teaches you how you are. It's teaching you all of those things that you had to go through. We're teaching you these virtues and your personal ethics and how to become someone you want to be so that the world becomes how you want it to be. But you also learn through all of these things who you are. And I'm going to get into who you are with the Beatitudes. And I like the word beatitude. I actually haven't done any research to understand what a beatitude, what that word means. So you guys might know. But I do know that I like to break the word apart into be and attitude. This is your be attitude. Okay, so you have essentially gone from a victim phase to having a be attitude. I'm going to be. I'm going to show up. I have a place in this world and I have a be attitude. Okay, so let's read the Beatitudes. Blessed are the poor in spirit, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. Poor in spirit. You have gone through your traumas. You have gone through the shite. You have been through the quagmire. You have been through all of the junk. You were hurt. But because of those experiences, your ability to learn your virtues and your ethics, to heal and to grow and to become empowered and self-actualize, now yours is the kingdom of heaven. So what does that mean? What is heaven to you? Is this the space of openness and empowerment? Is this your connection to source, to your higher self? Is this the connection to love, energy, to that Christ consciousness? Heaven is peace and abundance and inner stillness and knowing that all is well. Wow. Because I had a poor spirit, I now have the kingdom of heaven in me. I'm heaven on earth. I know what it's like to be there, and I'm not there anymore. Not even in my mind. I'm not reliving those same things over and over again anymore. I'm somewhere else entirely. I've integrated. And now I'm heaven on the inside. I'm peace on the inside. Blessed are those who mourn, for they will be comforted. I know what it's like to be sad. I know what it's like to go through loss. I know what it's like to grieve and to be alone. But now I know what it's like to have comfort and to comfort others. Blessed are the meek, for they will inherit the earth. I know what it's like to be beat down, looked over, controlled, made to feel smaller than other people. And because of that, I know my power and my worth, and that I will never be smaller than anyone else, and that no one else is smaller than me, and I'll never make them feel like it. I'm going to inherit the entire earth. I'm connected to Pachamama. I'm connected to the heavens. I'm connected to you. Blessed are those who hunger and thirst for righteousness, for they will be filled. I have inspirations. I have delusional thinking towards the good so that I can become everything I aspire to be. And because I hunger and thirst for virtues, because I've been in the darkness, because I've been in those attachment spaces and those evil spaces, and I know what it's like to crawl in the dark. Because of those things, I know the value and the power that's in the light, that's in that fully integrated and illuminated space. And I seek that on a daily basis. I seek that constantly. And because of that, I will be fulfilled. I am fulfilled in my quest. Blessed are the merciful, for they will be shown mercy. I know what it's like to not be shown mercy. I know what it's like to have something brutally done. And because of that, I am merciful. I feel bad when someone's hurting, especially if they're hurting because of me. I know how to show mercy, and because of that, I now see mercy in my life. I see when other people are taking it easy on me, when they're helping me out. I can see and recognize mercy now. Blessed are the pure in heart, for they will see God. Blessed are those who, while they've done all of these things, they are seeking the virtues. They're seeking their ethics. They're seeking healing. They're seeking self-actualization. Because when we are pure at heart, wanting to be empathetic to others, wanting to be kind to others, wanting everybody to feel fully empowered, this is when we will actually meet our God selves, our ninth dimensional self. We have the capacity of reaching our God self. And we will, when we continue to seek these things, to continue to integrate ourselves and become luminous. Blessed are the peacemakers, for they will be called sons of God. I do not promote anything that doesn't bring you peace. I do not promote anything but love. I do not promote fear. I seek to bring peace. I seek to bring love. I seek to bring comfort. And because of that beatitude, I can be called a child of God, a God child, a God spark. I'm divine simply because of that. Blessed are those who are persecuted because of righteousness, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. When people talk down to you, when people have opinions because of their own triggers without really knowing you, you still get to be at peace inside. You still get to know, I am heaven. I am heaven. I am heaven. I am peace. I am love. I've been through hell, and I am heaven. And not only am I heaven because that's what I want to feel and what I want to be, but it's because what I think all of you deserve to experience as well. This is something completely unrelated, but I want to skip down to Matthew 5:13. Just for a second, just humor me, guys. Just humor me. I've been really open and vulnerable over these two videos, okay? So if we skip down to Matthew 5:13, it says, "You are the salt of the earth. But if the salt loses its saltiness, how can it be made salty again? It is no longer good for anything except to be thrown out and trampled by men. You are the light of the world. A city on a hill cannot be hidden. Neither do people light a lamp and put it under a bowl. Instead, they put it on a stand, and it gives light to everyone in the house. In the same way, let your light shine before men, that they may see your good deeds and praise God." I just really like that verse. I was really drawn to that verse because if you did not know, my name is Mary, and Mary means bitterness of the sea, and what makes the sea bitter is the salt. So I like to say that I'm salty, and that's what gives me spice. That's what gives me a little bit of personality, is my salt. And so I really just kind of like that verse because it says you are the salt of the earth, because I bring the flavor, honey. But the second part of this verse is everything about self-actualization. This little light of mine, who I am on the inside, my alchemy, my power, who I am deserves to be celebrated. I'm going to let myself shine. I'm not going to hide it away. I'm not going to hide myself away when other people are around. No, I'm going to let it shine. I'm letting myself shine out. This is so important. Like, I lost words because this is what we have to do. We have to quit hiding ourselves. We get to be big. We get to be actualized. So guys, we talked about how delusion is the key to my success. We talked about the 7 virtues and how that starts in the victim phase, but then how we kind of come out of that phase into learning how we are through the ethics of the 7 virtues and who we are through the Beatitudes, because the Beatitudes are basically saying, look, I know you've been the victim in the past, but now you're heaven. Now you are a direct channel for source energy, and you're going to get everything you ever asked for, right? That's basically what the Beatitudes told me. That's my Beatitude. That's what I'm getting from that. And also don't forget, you can work with your bee and your hummingbird and your snail medicine to help you work with all of these things moving forward. So now we're going to throw your Eisteddfod back to Nevada Smith. But at this point, now that you've been listening to this Hz music and that solar plexus is starting to open up, now that you know where your phases are going and what you're learning and how you can apply the virtues and the Beatitudes into all of this, I want you to be really open to her music, to her song, because this is light language, channeled light language, and it's going to be able to move through you and bless you if you allow it.
tare tare swa Om tare tu 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 tare tare swa